Hello and welcome to your weekly DreamSport video. As always, you're joined by me, Andy, FPL TeachMode, and this week we are going to be talking again about the NFL. It's been a little while since we've been able to do this, but I'm very, very excited to get back into it because we can win some tickets this week, which is always what I'm looking for. But obviously, if you're only in it for the coins, then that's absolutely fine too, because there's plenty of those on offer as well. So if you manage to get top 3 this week, you will be winning a €12 Redzone ticket, which is great. If you finish between 4th and 10th, then you'll get one of the €2 ones, which is great too. Now, if we have a little bit of a look at the fixtures, I think we've got some nice fixtures. And as always, and this is the one that I prefer, they are all at 6 o'clock, which is just beautiful. So by 9 o'clock, 9:15 at the latest, you will know whether you have done well on your DreamSport entries. Now, if we have a look here, we've got Buffalo Bills versus Indianapolis Colts. I think you've got to go with the Bills here, especially with home field advantage. Josh Allen has been very, very boom or bust. People are actually shirking away from mentioning this, but he's either been kind of 30, 40-point weeks or he's been 10-point weeks. So I've always been quite reluctant to pick him, especially due to the fact that he's quite expensive as well. But this could be the week where actually he has quite a good one. So fingers crossed. AJ Brown's also not a bad play in this one either. Pittman for the Colts has been quite good. Jonathan Taylor is somebody that you can always look to, but the Bills have been quite good against the run. So I would struggle to pick him potentially in this one. Panthers versus Washington football team. I mean, eesh in terms of the way these two have been playing so far. Washington football team, I would struggle to pick many players from them apart from Terry McLaurin personally. Heineke has it in him to have good games, but I don't think I'd be wanting to build my DFS entry around him. Carolina Panthers, Cam Newton's come in and obviously has that upside to the fact that he runs in a lot of touchdowns, but will he be on the field all the time? I'm not too sure yet. And apart from that, I'm not really that interested in any of the players here. DJ Moore is maybe a sneaky play that you could go in with, and Chuba Hubbard is somebody as well. But I guess the big player is CMC, is McCaffrey. He could run absolutely wild against Washington football team, but Cam Newton rushing in those touchdowns might hurt him a little bit, so it's worth keeping an eye on. Bears against Ravens, I think, is a tough game for the Ravens here. Lamar Jackson sounds like he might not be available due to COVID, so it's worth keeping an eye on that. And if he's out, I struggle to like anybody in this Ravens team anymore. The Bears, though, obviously you could go with David Montgomery, but I'm again, it isn't really a matchup I'm targeting that highly, so we're going to move straight on. Browns versus Lions. Sounds like Chubb might be back for the Browns. If he is a definite plug and play. You need to get him into your lineups against this Lions defense that is just terrible against the run, against everything really. The Browns obviously came off a very poor game last week, but they did manage to run the ball effectively, and that was with D'Ernest Johnson, so I think Chubb is definitely the play this week. I wouldn't be touching any of the quarterbacks, so we'll move on. Jags versus 49ers. 49ers have obviously just come off a very, very good Monday night football win, against the Rams, and I feel like they could be a very good play this week against the Jags. Jags really struggle to keep teams from scoring against them. So players such as Kittle, I think Kittle's probably the best tight end to go with this week. Deebo Samuel has been balling this year, so he's definitely somebody you can look at as well. Vikings against Packers. I fancy the Packers to do some damage against the Vikings this week. Jefferson and Cook did very, very well for me last week, but the Vikings had quite a nice game script, whereas the Packers this week, I think, will put them to the sword. I think Aaron Rodgers, Devontae Adams, A.J. Dillon as well, because Aaron Jones looks like he's going to be out. All very good plays. Dolphins against Jets. We know the Jets are terrible against the run. When I say terrible, I mean they are awful against the run. So Myles Gaskin is a good play this week. And I don't think I'll be touching any Jets players. Eagles against Saints. Really tough one, this one. Saints are obviously very good at home, but they're away in this fixture. But the Saints have been playing pretty well recently. The Eagles, Jalen Hurts, look very good. He looks like they're trying to play him in a certain way at the moment, which I think limits his upside, but does increase his floor a little bit. So he's not the worst play. Devonta Smith has been playing very well, and the same with Goddard as well. So they're not bad plays. And then the Saints, I think Ingram's going to be playing this week instead of Kamara. He is somebody I'm definitely looking to get into my teams. And then Titans versus Texans. Load up on those Titans players. You know, Tannehill, if you want to get him in. If you want to get... did I say AJ Brown earlier for the Bills? Sorry, I meant AJ Brown for the Titans. If you want to get him in as well, that's absolutely fine. It's Diggs for the Bills, sorry. So if you want to get them in, that's absolutely fine too. Obviously, Donta Foreman is somebody that you could have a little bit of a look at as well. So let's try and build our team. Now, I always start with a quarterback because I always feel that's the most important position. I feel like Tannehill or Rodgers are probably the two favourites for me this week. It looks like Jackson might not play, so I don't think I'll be going for that one. Josh Allen is always expensive, but he's not as expensive as normal. He was 24 last week, which I thought was really too expensive for him. But I think I'd be going for Tannehill or Rodgers, and I think I'm probably going to favour Tannehill. So let's stick him in there. And then let's have a quick look at the running backs. Now, it could be that we wanted to put McCaffrey in there. He looks like he's getting up to full fitness, and I don't think it's that bad of a play. So if you put him in there, AJ Dillon is somebody I'm very, very high on this week too, because against that Vikings D, I think he could do well. And we saw already last week what he can do when he's got the volume. So let's put AJ Dillon in there. And then I do want to look. We've got Myles Gaskin that I think has to be thought about, and Mark Ingram as well. So it's between Gaskin and Ingram probably for me. I'm going to go for Ingram and see whether we can put Gaskin in there later if we're got a few more funds. So straight away, I'm looking at wanting to try and put those Green Bay Packer players in there. Adams has obviously been great this year. He is somebody that I'm going to be looking to try and get in. I'm spending too much money here already, I can tell. I want Deebo Samuel in there too, but already I'm spending way too much money. So let's just try putting Deebo in there too and see what happens. What do I have left? 23.7 million. Yeah, I'm struggling here. So let's look at tight end. We already mentioned Kittle. I do like Goddard this week as well. But I think if we have a look down as well, it really does struggle when you get further than this. So I think you could probably only really look from Conklin up personally. And there is a bit of a price hike when you get around here. Dan Arnold's done very, very well recently, so he isn't a bad play. But I think I'm probably going to go with Goddard there. I've only got 13 million left for 2 players, so I'm going to have to downgrade somebody. I'm going to downgrade Deebo. And see what I can get cheap in the wide receivers. So if we have a look, Brandon Ayuk isn't an awful play. Could do quite well against the Jags. If we have a look on the next page as well, we've got Darnell Mooney against the Ravens. Could be an okay play, but yeah, Elijah Moore's done well. Yeah, so we're struggling quite a bit as we get further down. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go back on the main page. I'm going to go with Ayukan, because I quite like him. And then we still need to be spending not that much. Let's have a look at the Ds as well. Anybody against the Texans is good. Anybody against the Lions is good. Let's go for San Fran because they did quite well this week as well. And then I've got 12 million left to spend. So 12 million on Corey Davis. No, thank you. Let's have a look. I tell you what, I'm going to put Elijah Moore in. Boom. Right, so we've got Elijah Moore in there too. So I've got Tannehill in quarterback. I've got Adams, Ayuk, and Moore wide receivers. McCaffrey, Dillon, and Ingram. I love that running back line. Goddard, and then I've got the San Francisco 49ers D as well. Obviously, this is all to do with, you've got to think about injuries. I think in the last entry that I did, I changed things very, very quickly because all of a sudden we knew that Kamara wasn't going to play, so we put Ingram in. Chubb wasn't going to play, so you put Dearness Johnson in. So you've got to keep up to date with who's going to play and who's not going to play, because if you're not, you're going to struggle to keep up with those players that actually do know what they're doing. So make sure you have some fun picking it, but make sure you do try and keep up to date if you can as well. I think I can make this a little bit better, but we'll see how we get on. So I will be tinkering with this as the week goes on. Thank you very much for listening to me again this week, guys. Really, really hope you do well this week. Hopefully you get yourself a ticket to be able to play for some real money too. And we'll be seeing you again very soon. So thank you very much, and oi oi.